Good morning and welcome to Coffee and Cookies. My name is Lindsay. Today is a beautiful Wednesday. It's Wednesday. In case you didn't know, it's Wednesday. Today's show is sponsored by Social Media Torch. Check out their website at www.socialmediatorch.com for any digital marketing services that you have. And now we're going to meet our co-host, Nick.
You did so good.
Thank you.
You did so good this morning. I am so proud of you right now. I'm going to lower my voice because I'm loud. Oh, yeah. There we go. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Cookies. We are so glad to have you guys join us this morning. Yesterday, I did a little bit of heart sharing. Today, I'm going to go ahead and say a shout out to Fuse.
Yes.
Because today was Waffle Wednesday.
Yes.
OM goodness.
It
Bridget.
was delicious.
And the team they made some waffles. It was bacon.
Mm-hmm.
Bacon.
Fresh fruit.
Oh, bacon.
Mm-hmm. That's a pretty important thing for you, apparently.
Yes, I love the bacon. I do love the bacon. So, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Fuse, for feeding us breakfast this morning. We greatly appreciate you. And let's do a little split screen action. Let's talk about some conversations because while we were having breakfast, we were talking about kids just being kids, right? Kids just do a little bit of extra complaining this week. Kids just being a little extra pushy this week.
Kids being kids.
And it's not just my kids. It's not just Lindsay's kids. For other people at the table, like, oh, my kid too. Oh, my kid too.
and so, what's in the water?
And so
there's got to be something in the water because is your kid doing this too?
Right. Is it in the water? Is it the solar system? Is it
it Texas?
Is it Texas? Is it the weather? Like what is
the
it?
weather has been messing with me. I need it to just pick. If it's going to be cold, be cold. If it's going to be warm, be warm. This up and down nonsense is messing with my sinuses.
Right, right.
I don't appreciate it.
Well, good morning, Enriquito. Good morning, brother. Yes, bacon is very important. Very important. I'm glad to know I'm not the only bacon guy here.
It really should be its own food group.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I would love this.
At least 2 servings a day. Okay, maybe not. Maybe we keep it to where it's like a special treat, so it keeps its priority status. I'd probably be all for the 2 servings a day thing.
You and a lot of other people. You and a lot of other people would be okay with that. So let's talk about this today, okay? I'm gonna start off with a little bit of Bluey, and then we're gonna roll that into some stories that are going on that we heard about. And here we go. Right, if you're a parent, please be sure to share maybe your experience or how you would have handled these situations in the comments, right? Because we're all here, okay? We're all here to help each other. We're all here to learn together. We're all here to rise up and elevate each other, right?
Yes.
So the Bluey episode that we're going to talk about.
What's the name, Nick?
I have no idea. Do you know? You want to know if Amber's in the comments? I know that she'll be able to name it, right?
Yep. If I see it, I would know it.
So in this episode, the dad is playing with Bluey and Bingo, and he plays with Bingo just a little too rough, like 3 or 4 times throughout the episode. But Bingo never lets out her big girl bark, okay, to let Daddy know that he was playing too rough with her, right? And towards the end of the episode,
it's called Yoga Ball.
Yoga Ball, yes, that's it. And towards the end of the episode, the mom sees Bingo. Chili, her name is Chili. Chili sees Bingo, kind of just sad, and she's like, "Oh, what happened? Daddy's playing with me too rough." Oh, he does that, and let's go talk to him. And instead of the mom coming in,
she asks,
"Oh,
Bingo, did you use your big girl bark?"
Very good, yes.
And Bingo says no.
So Chili takes Bingo, and then they go up and they talk to Dad. Now, when they go talk to Dad, Chili just doesn't talk on the kid's behalf. Chili has Bingo explain to Dad, "Hey, Dad, you were playing a little too rough with me." And the dad sits down and apologizes. "Bingo, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Let's figure out what's too rough so then they can grow together as a family, right? And he bounced Bingo on the ball, and 1's okay, 2's okay, 3, and Bingo lets out her big girl bark.
Right.
And he says, "Oh, okay, too rough." And the episode has a funny little ending with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes into a story of an experience that you had last night, okay? And where the conversation started, we're going to go into Lindsay's story, but I had to have a little talk multiple times last night with my girls.
Yep.
As they went through this growly phase,
Being unkind.
Yeah. But we solved it, right?
Yep.
And then there was one of the individuals that were sitting at the table with us. She was explaining how her 14-year-old had a little growliness towards her.
She was practicing to be a lawyer. That's
there
it.
you go.
You know, you got to get it in perspective. She was working on her lawyer skills.
There you go, right? and this is so. And then Lindsay shares her story, and this has been. So the question is there something in the water right now that's making all these kids just extra growly towards each other? But let's go ahead and go down Lindsay's story. Go ahead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Why my story? Why isn't my story today and not your story?
Because I told my story yesterday.
Oh.
And I can't always be.
Whoa.
I can't always be the center of attention.
Did you guys see that? That was on camera. Nick is relinquishing the center of attention.
See, this is how you know that Lindsay doesn't go through and watch the videos, because I do more focused on her throughout the episode than I do myself. Mm-hmm.
I think that's because I have funnier faces.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
All right, story time.
So I just told the story. So
you did. I know, it was so great. Like, I love the fact that we moved this show out an hour, because it gives us time to have fun conversations and come up with great content before the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, so last night you know what? I have a win. Came home yesterday. So if you watch yesterday's episode, my struggle was having Tristan watch TV every day when he gets home from school. So when I got home from school, no TV was on. So proud of him. So, right? We got to watch TV after dinner and snuggle and have some time like that. So anyway, win for me. And so last night after we were getting ready, we were doing bath time. And bath time is not mommy time. That's daddy time. That's daddy get to play. Like, they get to splash him. He loves it. It's fun.
That is important to have.
It is.
It's important to have, not just so you disconnect, but so he gets some one-on-one fun time with his kids.
Oh, you know what's funny? Well, it's not funny. Daddy is the fun one. Hands down. Like, mom is not the fun one. I am not the fun parent. If you want to have fun and you want to laugh, unless it's like a tickle fight, I'm good at tickling. But other than that, dad's the player. He's the one that likes to play. He goes out on the trampoline with them. He goes in the playroom. He runs and chases them around the house. He's an amazing dad. Mom, I'm the cuddler. I'm the puzzle maker. Like, we do puzzles and games. Like, that's me. That's my jam. Dad, he's the other kind of playing. So he does bath time. And either, like, in the past, that was when I was cleaning up the kitchen or whatever. That's what I would do. I usually make Tristan's lunch during this time. So that's what I wasn't doing that last night. But anyway, so all over the place this morning.
Focus.
Let me focus.
Focus.
So bath time.
Focus.
They were playing, and Dad's checking in on them because he was also watching the Michigan State game because that was on last night.
Priorities.
Had to double dip on that one. And so he was walking back and forth from the TV to check on them. They're in there playing and laughing and splashing, and I am nowhere near. I have no idea what's going on, except I know they're having a good time. Bath time ends, and Tristan, the next thing I know, Tristan's running into my bedroom, and he's emotional. He's having an emotional moment. And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, Dad made me clean up all the water on the floor all by myself. I'm like, okay. and like, what's the big deal? Like, you cleaned it up. I'm so proud of you. Good job.
Right.
And
High five, kid.
I know. He's like, but I wasn't the only one splashing. And I'm like, So what is that? So I did Nick's why thing, right? I did your why thing where you keep asking why to get to the issue. And he's like, but I wasn't the only one splashing. And I'm like, well, why does that matter? He's like, it's not fair. He didn't say it like that, but that's how I see it in my head,
Lindsay's
right?
version of it, with a lot more head bob movements,
Yes.
a lot more facial expression.
He goes, it's not fair. And I'm like, the issue. Well,
It's not fair.
and I told him, I said, you know what, buddy? There's going to be a lot of times in life where you feel it's not fair. You're going to have to just learn how to handle that. And I'm like, so did you talk to Dad about this? And he goes, no. I'm like, well, I think you need to have a conversation with Dad. And he's always been able to express his feelings with me better than he has with Dad. Not that Dad doesn't do a great job when he does, but it's just different. Like, I don't know. Like, when I was young, I never went and talked to my dad about my feelings. I never went and talked to my dad about my feelings. I only ever went and talked to my mom or my aunt. Those were the two people in my life that I shared my feelings with. And like, I never talked to my brother about my feelings. Like, it just seemed weird. So we're breaking that cycle in my family. And, so I wanted to, before he went and had this conversation with Dad, I wanted to make sure that he understood everything that he was feeling before he did it. So it was this, it's not fair. I wasn't the only one cleaning it up. And so I said, Dad, I think we as a family need to have a discussion. Because I'm like processing in my head of, well, does Lexi need to hear this? Or does this need to be a Dad and Tristan conversation? Or does everybody need to be involved? Or does blah, 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 blah. All that's processing as I'm listening to a story, right? And so I'm like, well, it'd be good for Lexi to watch this transaction take place, this conversation. It'd be good for her to grow and hear this kind of talk. And it'd be good for Mom to just make sure that
Everyone's on the same page.
everyone's on the same page,
go.
right?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. You're welcome.
So we sat down and we started the conversation. I said, Tristan, you need to tell Dad how you're feeling. And he's trying to control his breathing. So when he gets emotional, I've taught, like, when my kids get emotional, I'd say, okay, it's time for a deep breath. And give him that moment to process. He took several deep breaths. Trying to hold back tears because he's trying to communicate something that hurt him or that he didn't feel was fair. So he wasn't able to get it out. So I started his sentence for him. I said, Dad, this hurt my feelings when, and he repeated that. And then he was able to finish his sentence. And I said, and he didn't say it the way, like the underlying. He said, because you made me clean up all the water.
Which is the first why.
That's the why, yes.
That's the first
and
why.
And I said, because.
And there comes the second why.
I wasn't the only one splashing. And that is not. So, like, I'm sitting there helping him piece together this thought, this feeling that he's feeling. And Dad is doing so good. He held his hand, like, buddy, you can tell me anything before the conversation started, like, just encouraging him to express his feelings. So proud of both of them, my whole family. So proud of my whole family. But
I love Lexi's ending to it, though. You guys get through the conversation.
Yes, we get
he
through
does
it.
through the talking.
Yes.
Dustin apologizes for hurting his feelings.
Yes.
And then Lexi says, "Gotta
I
love
don't
tiny
even
kids."
remember how it started. She's like, yes, we need to be nice. We need to be God's friend.
Right? Just
like, we need to be God's friend. I'm like, yes, we do. And we do that by listening to our parents and being nice to each other.
Oh, I love it. I love when tiny people just pull something, they just pull it from the sky.
But she was listening.
She was listening. She was listening, and she was trying to participate, right?
So proud of her.
So you were sharing the story at the table.
Yes.
And one of the individuals that was at this table, she's a counselor, right? Mm-hmm. And she does marriage counseling, I believe.
Yes.
Right. And she actually said, and I'm gonna nick-a-phrase this, okay? I'm gonna nick-a-phrase it, not verbatim what she said. I'm gonna nick-a-phrase it. You know, men struggle with sharing with other men their emotions, and they're normally more comfortable talking to other women because they're around women all the time, right? You have women are preschool, women are teachers, men are comfortable talking to women. Correct.
Because that's
because the current
Mm-hmm.
trend, they're around a lot more women. They're around a lot more women leaders in their life, and not as many male leaders in their life, right?
Oh, I have a sneeze. Hold on.
Okay, I will take the camera off of you, and I'll even mute you. There you go. So where I'm going with that is, so in this situation here, Tristan is a little bit more comfortable talking with his mom, but when it came to talking with his own dad, it was more difficult for him to do this. Right. And in doing so, this was a great learning experience for him, because go back to split screen. There you go. See, isn't it nice? Isn't it nice having that?
Nice. Sneezing off camera.
Right. Because men need to be able to do that. Yes. Men need to be able to talk to other men and be able to not just talk, to flat out truly communicate with other men, okay, with struggles that they're going through. Because through that sharing, now I start to create a brotherhood, right? Through a sharing, and I'm not saying it always has to be an emotional thing, but hey, I'm willing to talk about this with you, okay? Now, with a dad-son relationship, yes, I need to be able to talk to my father about what I'm going through.
Right.
So I was talking with my sister yesterday, and so going back to Mary Jen and Greg, right? If you watched yesterday's episode, Mary Jen and Greg, they're great parents, they're great grandparents, but and they were definitely the alphas in their family. They were the leaders of their family, but they were safe zones for their kids. The kids could come talk to Mary Jane or Greg. Okay. Now Greg is a 6'3" guy. Like, he's a big guy, right? And Mary Jane's nice, and so she's tiny. But where I'm going with this is, yes, Tristan should be able to communicate with his mother as well as communicate with his father.
Right.
Okay. Now, this is something in talking with my sister yesterday of creating safe spaces.
Yes.
For your kids, you have to be open to an apologizing as a parent, and then also allow the child to be able to apologize as well. And here's why. If it's always a one-way apology, okay, this is something we talked about, you at some point in time, you're going to start relinquishing authority because it's one directional.
Right.
Okay. The other thing is, by you not allowing the child to apologize, you're not allowing that child to learn to apologize and how to accept forgiveness so they can move forward. Right. So it's two parts. But what I like about this is what you said. Someone's very comfortable coming to you with this, but now you're teaching your family that the dad is a safe zone as well. You can now go talk to your father now about this, and you can start having those conversations with him, because mommy's going to have one perspective, daddy's going to have another perspective.
Right. And it ended that night. Like, it ended in different perspectives that night, last night, because I was not there. So at the end of this conversation, I'm like, well, let's come up with a new solution after bath time where everybody's helping clean up.
There you go. I like it. Teamwork.
Right?
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah. It doesn't matter who made the mess. You're going to clean up half, and she's going to clean up half. And I went through these conversations with Tristan before we had this, and I'm like, well, is it fair that mommy's the one always cooking? Is it fair that daddy's the one that's always cutting the grass? Do you play on the grass? Do you have a trampoline outside?
You didn't share this at the table.
I didn't. Well, yeah. But I went through that and I said,
yes.
You're going to go through life and it's not going to be fair. This is you taking ownership and leadership of yourself by doing what you need to do to move on with your life.
I like that because and take that by you getting down and you cleaning up the water, your sister's watching.
Yes.
Right?
So
and, go ahead.
To that point, because Dad
Yep.
pointed that out during our conversation, and I pointed that out during our conversation. And I'm sitting there listening, and I'm thinking, if I'm Lexi, and I was splashing, and I'm watching this conversation, and she's 3. Like, I'm sure she's not thinking this through on this deep of a level. But kids are smarter than we probably give them credit for.
They're observant.
They're so observant. And I'm like, I just made a mess. I didn't have to clean it up. And Tristan got in trouble.
I couldn't tell if that was a win-win situation or
It's
where
a
are you going with
win-win
it?
for Lexi.
Ah, that's where you're going with that.
And I told Dad afterwards, I said, I was not there. This is my only last thought about this. And then I want to make sure because Lexi's watching us too.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
and what can I get away with?
yes.
And kids think this way. This is not calling out Lexi. Kids think this way.
It's not. And she's not, I have not, I say she's not. I have not observed her be manipulative like that. But I have, like, she came in and I said, Lexi, were you splashing in the bathtub? No, it was Tristan. And I said, now, ma'am. Now, ma'am.
I know you, little 3-year-old.
I know
You're
you were
my daughter.
Like, I didn't see it, but I heard you playing. Like, I know you were splashing.
Right.
When you tell mommy no to that question, you are not telling me the truth.
Uh-huh.
And we went through that conversation. Like, it was...
Oh, wow. I didn't know that either. You didn't share that at the table.
It was a big conversation.
But it's needed, and it's needed. And here's the win. You had the mindset to have the conversation. You are so extremely blessed that you didn't just have the mindset, you had the time to have the conversation. That your husband had the mindset to have the conversation.
Yeah.
And that your kids were willing to sit down and get involved in a family conversation. Okay? That does not come from one person having a leadership mindset.
Right.
That does not come from having one person having a growth mindset. That comes from having a couple both having growth mindsets, and you're slowly instilling this type of mindset into your kids, which allows for these conversations at 3 years old and Tristan's 6, right? At 3 years old and at 6 years old to have these conversations with them.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you are able to say, "Great, life isn't fair." Okay, contrary to what you might believe or contrary to what may be being taught by other individuals, life is not fair. Dustin does not make everyone get out of the house and mow the yard.
Right.
You don't make everyone stand in the kitchen and do dishes.
And I actually, God blessed me with words last night, because when I was talking about that, I said, that is how Daddy serves this family.
Ooh, plastic mic, drop, walk out. Just walk out. That is how Daddy. Goodness.
I
Like,
know.
that needs to be a
that was
quote
not
on a
me.
shirt. This
That
is
is
how
not-
I serve my family.
Yes. And so I said, what is your role in this family? I know. I'm like getting chills.
Girl.
I don't know.
Girl. And you want to know what? At 6 years
God
old.
for God, because you gave me the words.
At 6 years old, Tristan grasped that, didn't he?
Right. I asked him that. He's like, I don't know.
Ooh. So now that is a new discussion, right? That's a great. How are you going to serve in this house? Because, and maybe it's not like exactly at 6 years old, right? Like you have to measure your own kid's mentality, but he's understanding fair. Okay. I've watched him at church. He understands how to serve.
Yeah.
Okay. So now how do we implement that serving into the household? How are you contributing to the family?
Right.
Okay. I love this. This is a great story. I'm so glad you shared. I mean, I had to,
Yeah.
you had to,
We had
come
to
on,
dig
Lindsay.
out a little things, like, because I'm like, oh yeah, and I said this. This was great. But anyway.
Hey,
yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, come be on the show and share your stories. You'll have, it's basically
It's therapy.
therapy with the world. Okay. Therapy with the world. And here we go. Right. And what I like about this is sometimes, you know, we'll get DMs, right? People maybe not
Right.
share in the comments, but they'll share in the DMs like, hey, this helped me figure this out. Or, hey, I'm going through this struggle too.
Right.
Or, hey, thank you for sharing that. I'm actually going to be sending this episode to a family member for them to watch. Right. So you just know that, like, when you come on here, if you're a guest and you're able to share parenting, leadership, business, anything of that, there are people in the audience that need to hear this from you.
Yeah.
And granted, I have the loudest voice, but hey, if you've watched some of the episodes and we have guests, I be quiet because I'm learning from our guest just as you are as the audience. And Lord knows I have a lot more learning to do.
We need help.
So if you're like, man, and here we go, right? I'll go ahead and end on this note. If you're like, yeah, Nick, I'm not comfortable in front of the camera. Being on camera with Lindsay and I is probably the most relaxing camera environment that you could be
So
in.
we've had guests that are like, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to be on camera. Like, I just get anxiety. And then at the end of it, they're like, that was it? 30 minutes is over? What? Like, let's do this again.
Yes, yeah, like this was greatness. Like, I don't can I book another session?
Yeah. Not
You know?
because it's a therapy, like a true therapy, but
but because if you watch this, we make sure that when our guests come on, it's a great experience for them.
Yes.
There's prep work that goes into before a guest comes on, right? There's when you after the show's over, there's post, episode work that we do with our guests because we have to make sure. And this is what we talk about is experiences, right? We want to make sure that our guests have a great experience going all the way through this. And here's why. When you get people like my dad who just commented, my dad is, here we go, right? My dad has a master's
thanks,
in
Steve.
theology. This man, if we could get him, Dad, I need you to move up north so you can come be on the show more often. Because here we go, right? When we talk about my upbringing, right? My dad was one of the most forgiving and one of the most listening people in my life.
he's a great man.
And what he's so good about is not telling you, okay? Not telling you what to think,
Yes.
but going, have you thought about it this way? Right? Right? Right?
That thought.
Right? Let's maybe pump the brakes there. And granted, like, my dad loves golf. I do not do golf. Like, when I go out and play golf with my dad, I drive the golf cart. Like, that's my thing, right? But it's just to be in the presence, just to listen, right? I love it when my dad comes over and spends time with my granddaughters. You want to know why? He's a lot more like you. He does puzzles. He brings out the coloring books, right? And he
He's
gets
so
their,
sweet. He's so sweet. He always brings them gifts. And they're not like huge things, but they're like activities.
They're huge things for the kids.
Yes.
They're huge for the kids.
And you know what? Those he brought sticker books. And he actually gave
Yes.
2 to my kids. He gave some to my kids, and I went home and I was working on it.
Okay, so here we go, right? So it's people like that you want to have on the show because they give you a different perspective,
Yeah.
right? They just do.
And that's you. You
Dad,
have a
that
different
is you.
perspective.
Well, Steve and it's Enriquito. Enriquito lives in I want to say Michigan,
Really?
right?
I'm from Michigan.
Detroit, Michigan. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes. So he lives up there, and this man has raised kids, right? I mean, to have him come online, to have him come here and go, hey,
Probably in a tough environment.
No,
Michigan's a very different environment
very
than
different.
it is down here.
Very
it's
different.
a different atmosphere. It's a different mentality. Yes.
it's funny because I was talking to Amber. I was like, Amber, can we put Squish into so Sydney. Her nickname is Squish. Can we put Sydney and no, Dad, we're not going to make you cry. My dad. Every time we've told Dad that he's going to be a grandfather of another kid,
Aww.
he has broken down into tears. It's funny. Okay.
That's precious.
Every time I have conversations with Amber, I'm like, can we just like go put Sydney like into a like hire a babysitter for 30 minutes and you come on the show too?
Yes.
Because she'll have these conversations with me and I'm like, Amber, it's such a different perspective than what Lindsay would say. That's a different perspective than what I would say. But oh my goodness, I can just list all these other people.
Yes,
that
when
would think
I'm
that
going
way.
through stuff, I go talk to Amber because
Right.
she helps me see it differently. And she's got such a positive spin on
Oh
everything.
my gosh.
Like, you think we're positive? Amber makes us look
No.
like,
No.
yes.
No.
To me, I feel like I'm like amateur hour next to Amber. Like, she's just so
And then
positive to
She
everybody.
is.
And I'm like, where does this come from? I need to be more like Amber.
and then but it's with a voice like this.
I know.
It's so quiet.
It's how does she?
I don't know. I
How?
don't know. Like
And then you have me. Opposites attract.
and then here we go, right? And yes, I'm gonna brag on my family for a little bit here. I have someone like Tommy, who's a lot like my dad, but is very much a very strong leader and is very good about asking the hard questions. Tommy will ask you the hard questions, the questions that will make you uncomfortable. Tommy will ask those questions.
Yeah,
And he will challenge you.
I asked him like, "Hey, what did this say?" He told me, and then he came back with a question. I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll go ask somebody else next
I'm
time."
gonna go ask someone else. And here we go, right? With Tommy though. So you want to? I'm not gonna tell Tommy's story.
I wasn't prepared for that from Tommy.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm like, "Oh, okay, I see you now.
Right.
I got you."
Right. Tommy has an amazing memory, and one day I hope he will come on camera and share his story. But his memory, like he remembers things from when we were kids. I'm like, I don't remember that. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Like he remembers details. Okay. And then with my family, you have Diane. And Diane is the glue of the family. Diane's the one who makes sure that everyone gets a happy birthday. Diane's the one that makes sure that everything gets back in sync. If someone gets a little out of whack, she's the one who says, "Yes, but I need you to have the conversation." Right? Like she's the one that will bring it back in. And with that, Diane's the one who does such a great job listening that you will actually figure things out when you're talking to her, not because she will impart like this magical star, but because she's such a great listener, you figure it out on your own.
Diane, we need to talk more.
You know, and it's very interesting because when I look back at my family, and one day I'll tell you a lot more. Not bore. I will not bore you. I'm not boring. I will tell you a lot more about my family. Yeah, right. Here we go. A lot more about my family dynamic. And when I say family of choice, I'm telling you, I have more with a family of choice than you could ever imagine, because that biological family is a family of choice. Okay. And because of that, we're able to have these hard conversations. Diane and I had a hard conversation yesterday. Okay. But we can have those conversations because we know that we speak in love to each other.
And you're not carrying a spirit of offense.
Oh, you can't. You can't in our family.
Yeah.
You would.
You can.
You
can. It's not helpful.
It's not, it really isn't. It really is not helpful to have a spirit of offense. Like you have to be open and willing and have that growth mindset. And I think with that, and yes, I'm speaking directly. You're hearing Nick here, okay? With that, that's why we go to Elevate Life. That's why I go to Mighty Men, and I'm on Tommy's team. I'm on my brother's team.
Your
right?
little brother.
My younger brother. He's not. Tommy's larger than me. He's not my little brother.
Yeah.
He's taller than me.
Sure.
You know,
Yes.
he's my younger brother. But yes, right? There's a dynamic there, which that leadership, that humbling leadership, that servant leadership persona, that servant leadership leading style is taught by Elevate Life.
Right.
And it's taught by the people that I've decided to surround myself with, okay, within
Your
the
family of
church
choice.
and with my family. Now,
Because
now,
some
hold on.
people-
I got one last thing, okay?
We gotta wrap up.
I know.
It's way past
But we're
time.
not going to forget about my brother Robert.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, Robert,
Which he's out of the country.
Robert is out of the country. Robert is the explorer of the family. Okay.
Hence,
Robert,
he's out of the country.
well, yes, but he's not just out of the country. He's out of the country, and he's the one who has his own marketing agency. Okay. Out of the country. He deals with international clients. This man has so much patience to deal with people who don't have a growth mentality, and then help them grow their business outside of this country. He went to a country where he's able to impart education and help people start lives. Okay? He has such a big heart, but I'll tell you right now, if you talk to him, you better have your ducks in a row. Because he, you know, and maybe it's because of our upbringing, Steve. Maybe that's it. Like you led us in a direction where all of us are able to ask those hard questions, right? All of us are able to have those hard conversations. And with Robert will stretch you, okay? And he'll stretch you a way to make you better because he's willing again to ask those hard questions. And it's funny because, you know, I own a marketing agency here inside the United States. He owns a marketing agency outside the United States. And when we get into conversations, it's funny because we'll both start on business. We both love having business conversations. Okay. Like that's probably our DNA's connected on the business level. Right. And then it will float into family, and then we'll float into friends, and then it will float here. And here's where his heart is, right? If you listen to Robert long enough, here's what I'm doing to help the people around me. Here's what I'm doing to employ the people around me. Here's what I'm doing to increase the lifestyle of the people around me. And in doing so, I find I don't just fill my own heart, but I get to fill their hearts as well, because I'm able to help all of these people who are not inside this country, who would never be able to experience a lifestyle outside of where they were at had Robert not been in that city.
Right. It's amazing.
So there you go. I have way more, but we are coming up on time, and I just
way past time.
Right? Yes, Amber. Robert is a no nonsense. Robert should have absolutely been a lawyer, and yes, Amber, that's right. Robert is a no nonsense person, and that's why stuff gets done. All right,
funny.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to just say thank you guys for tuning in today.
Thanks for listening to my story.
Thanks for listening to my story. Thanks for listening to our stories. Because, and hopefully, you know, my heart is, and our hearts are, hopefully it helps in some way. It helps you move forward. Okay. It helps you just become a little bit better. Maybe take something, maybe you're like, man, I haven't spoken with my brother or sister, you know, mom or dad in so long. And I need to reach out to them. Make a phone call.
Yep.
Not a text message. A phone call.
I actually told somebody yesterday that was having a kind of a challenging moment. I said, if you're in that moment of whatever it is, having a bad day, having depressing thoughts, stuck on what I don't have, you need to talk to somebody and tell them how much you're grateful for them.
There you go. So tomorrow, there's one person I have not mentioned in my family, and that is my mom. Okay. Tomorrow we're going to open up with my mom, and I'm going to share a little bit of that story.
Okay.
Okay. So just so you know, tomorrow, tune in. We're going to talk about mom. Okay. Now, we're going to end this episode. Where are you with your big three for the week? Okay. Now, granted, this is my full focus planner. You can get whatever planner you want. Okay. This is my favorite because it just is. So big three for the week. It's Wednesday. You better be completing your second of the big three today. Okay. If you can get your big three in early, get it done early. Why? maybe take this Friday, maybe leave a little early, maybe go have some me time.
Ooh,
Okay.
mental days.
Oh, right. I so needed that yesterday. Yesterday was a big processing day for Nick.
You disappeared, actually.
I did. Well, I had to go take something back to the store, which is, I'm not.
Who does that
I
anymore?
know, right? Right. But make sure that you have your big 3 done. Make sure that you have what you need to make it happen, right? Your big 3 are your rocks, and the next year will be your stones, and that's gonna be things scattered throughout today. Okay, that you're gonna have your sand, and that's gonna be your emails and the things that need to just get done today. Okay, but this right here, this is what moves a company. This is what moves you. If you're in the
you're
professional
building a
space,
house, you don't build it with sand and pebbles. You build it with rocks.
yes.
Well, bricks, but
Bricks.
You know.
If you're moving up through the professional space, this is how you get there. You have to be intentional with your planning.
Yep.
Okay. So thank you guys for being in the comments. Know that we love you.
Yes.
Know that we pray for you. That's how we know to have you. That's how we know that you're watching is in the comments and liking the videos. Above all, bring your positive today. Okay. I am fully recharged. So if you need to borrow some of my positive, borrow it. Okay. And for those of you that sent me some of your positive yesterday, thank you. I needed it. Okay. And that's the best part about having your biological family, your family of choice. And I will say now I have an extension family. I have a digital family, right? I have people that I message almost every day online back and forth. I have a digital family now, right? It's just like that little ring. It keeps getting farther and farther out. There you go, right?
Yeah.
So know that you are loved. Know that you are prayed for. Okay. And above all, make sure you
Rise up.
and crush it.
Bye,
Bye y'all.